How's it going, guys? We're out here in the great outdoors today, and I'm gonna unveil my new Jeep project for you guys. If you've been following the channel for a while, watched my last video, or follow me on Instagram, you know that the main vehicle of this channel, my 99 Jeep Cherokee XJ, was lost in a house fire. Now, I had that vehicle for about 4 years, and I had built it from the ground up. Long arms, cage, 35s, rear locker with a 8.8 out of a Ford in there, a bunch of supporting mods, and I still had a ways to go. The next step was going to be to swap in a high pain Indiana 44 and throw on some 37s with some beadlock wheels. Well, unfortunately, I can't do that anymore. If you've watched my walk around of that Jeep, you know that I named it the Cheaphawk. And I got that name as a play off of JCR's Real Hawk, which was kind of where I wanted to be with that Jeep. And this vehicle that I'm going to show you in just a second, you probably can guess what it is based off the thumbnail of this video. Someone commented on one of my Facebook posts about losing my Jeep, and they said, hey, you should name your next project the Phoenix. And that made a lot of sense to me. The Cheaphawk had a hawk logo. Phoenix is a mythical bird, right, that rises from the ashes. And this Jeep is kind of a new project that is rising from the empty shell, the ashes of my beloved XJ that we lost. So without further ado, I'll turn you around and show you the new project. Here it is, guys. This is a 2003 Jeep TJ. Oh, it's so hard not to say Jeep XJ. 2003 Jeep Wrangler TJ. This is the X model, which means that it has the 4.0, which was a must-have for me. I'm used to those engines. They make good power, and I didn't want to risk getting a 4.0, or excuse me, getting a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and not having enough power, because the plans for this Jeep are grander than the XJ was. So let's go ahead and pop the hood and I'll show you under there. All right, so here it is, a 4.0 4-liter, one of Jeep's iconic engines. It did not look this clean when I got it. This whole Jeep is pretty dirty inside and out. I did wash the outside. You can't tell because I'm out in the woods today and it's kind of muddy. I did a pretty good job cleaning it. My brother helped me with his wash truck. And anyway, it looks good. Oil looks good. Thing runs smooth. Couldn't ask for more. Now this vehicle is all stock, except for the 31-inch tires and the aftermarket wheels. It's got some bolt-on stuff like the flares, which I'm going to get rid of. That side step, which is useless. And it has a tow bar on the front. They used it for towing behind their RV. 141,000 miles. No big dents. A couple little dings and rock chips. The paint looks pretty good. The wheels have seen better days. We are going to try to polish them up a little bit. It did come with a pretty nice Smitty built rear bumper on it, so that's a plus. Now, one of the things that I'm going to have to get used to, TJ versus XJ thing, is the lack of cargo space. So look at that. If you've watched my other videos, you know I like to carry a lot of gear. This is my tools and my recovery gear and my bottle jack. And pretty much these three things take up this whole rear hatch, the whole cargo area. On my last Jeep, if you've watched that video, if you haven't, you should go watch it. It's pretty good. I had a spare tire in there. I had all sorts of stuff, a bug out bag, all these tools, my chainsaw, all sorts of stuff. So that's something I'm gonna have to overcome. It is a soft top. It's a newer soft top from Best Top, and it's in, you know, excellent condition because it is newer. But I really wanted a hard top. They're super hard to find. The inside is not detailed, so don't judge me. It's got the full doors with the roll-up windows. I really like that. I noticed on every Jeep I've looked at, there's some stress cracks here on both sides. I don't know why, but that's kind of the only flaw that I've found on the inside. It has some newer rough country neoprene seat covers front and back. Factory sound system. Factory roll bar speakers. Doesn't sound too bad. It is an automatic. I was looking for a manual, but you know, the automatic's gonna make off-roading a little easier. So not too upset about that. It's got the real gauges in it, which was a problem when I got my XJ. It didn't have real gauges and I had to swap those out. Inside the Jeep is way different than the XJ, but the ergonomics of it are pretty comfortable. The center console is right at the right height for my arm. The cup holders are super convenient. The automatic is nice and accessible. The e-brake actually works in this vehicle. It has a bunch of empty slots in this whole area that I could add switches. I'll probably do the McTuning switch panel again. I really did enjoy that, and I'm gonna miss it from the other Jeep. All the controls work so far. I haven't found anything that's broken or not working. Well, except for maybe this button. It doesn't work very well. Got the necessary toilet paper in there. A surprisingly deep center console, which will help with adding storage. As well as underneath the seat, there is some room for storage. And they sell a bunch of cool aftermarket storage boxes for that location. The gauges look good. Let's go ahead and fire it up and I'll show you how quickly it starts. Now that fired right up. My other Jeep would usually take a few seconds to start. So everything is just in great working order. My last Jeep, I had a intake on it and was lacking some interior pieces and had all sorts of little issues like that, a cherry bomb exhaust, and it made for a very loud ride, a loud running engine. And I'm not doing any of that on this Jeep. I am gonna leave all that stuff stock. If I come to a water crossing that requires a cowl intake, I'll just turn around, because I want to be able to cruise this Jeep and enjoy it. My wife wants to drive it a bit, and now that I'm older, it just makes more sense to have a quieter ride. Really love the full doors. My dad's TJ has the half doors with you know, the soft toppers on it, and it kind of gets to be a pain when you're out in the woods in the wintertime. One of the really cool things about finding a red TJ such as this one with these fender flares on it is 15 years ago, and you know, like 2008, when I was a freshman in high school and I started getting into off-roading, I would borrow my dad's Wrangler, and it is a red TJ. It had these pocket style flares on it when I got it, and I'll post a picture right here of one of my first ever wheeling trips as just a young kid. And these Jeeps are almost identical, so that's kind of cool. Some Ultra wheels and 31-inch tires. They're brand new. The tires are, at least. This does have the Dana 30 front end, which is kind of a bummer. I'll be honest, I paid $10,500 for this Jeep. It's more than I wanted to spend. And it really sucks because I had a Rubicon with less miles lined up for $13,000. And you'll know that those come with Dana 44s, lockers front and rear, and the 4-to-1 transfer case. I thought, man, perfect base, because when I swap in bigger axles, I can sell these ones, make some money. And 3 or 4 days before I was supposed to go pick that one up, the guy calls me and says, hey, someone offered a little bit more and I had to take it. Don't blame him. I wouldn't have done the same thing if I've already made a deal, but I can't blame him for taking $1,500 more given his situation that he was talking about. So unfortunate for me, good for him. At least I still ended up with a clean Jeep to start with. And the rear, oh, I don't know if you can see it under there, but it's the terrible Dana 35 that everyone talks about, which is kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice. I know some of these came with the Dana 44 in the rear in this later TJ years. So that would have been nice, because my starting plan with this Jeep is front and rear bumpers. It's already got the rear, so I'm going to build a bumper for the front, add a winch, build some rock sliders. I will sell these wheels and tires, and I have a set of 315 70 or 75 R16s. So I need to get some black wheels that is this lug pattern. I'll use those tires. I'll probably do a 1-inch body lift and a 2-inch spacer lift for now, because the long-term goal of this is to be in the 3.5 to 5-inch lift range with long arms. I'll do a Genrite tank in the rear, which is where the body lift comes in. It's required to stretch your rear axle and run that Genrite tank. You have to raise the body a little bit. I plan on a 5 to 7-inch rear stretch and a 2 to 3-inch front stretch, and that should give me a pretty good wheelbase. I have a high pinion Dana 44 and a 9-inch sitting at the shop ready to build. Well, I need to pull them out of the truck that they're in, but I'll build those, and I will go a selectable locker in the front, probably a ratchet locker in the rear. Yeah, that's the gist of it. I'm going to build some armor for the sides and buy the corner armor for the back. You know, the high clearance flares in the front. And just whatever, you know, supporting mods I need to do. Shocks, and I want a sway bar for the front. There's a small company that offered me one if I built a Cherokee again, and I don't know if he has started building for the TJs yet, but I really like his design. It's well, I'll put his Instagram name on the screen right here. I plan on doing an XJ versus TJ breakdown. I'll use Jeremy's XJ when I do that, since mine is missing. And it really is funny, just some of the things like wheelbase. Jeremy stretched out, I think, to 107 inches, and it wasn't really that much work, he said. But to get in even to 100 inches on one of these requires a pretty big stretch, because they are like 93 or 94 inches from the factory, and that's pretty short, which has its advantages and it also has its disadvantages. At stock height, it looks just right. When you get some 40-inch tires on there, in my opinion, it kind of looks goofy if you don't have it stretched enough. But that's something we'll have to tackle as we go, because lifting these Jeeps are also more expensive than doing a XJ. Here I decided to go up this little hill. It really wasn't much of an obstacle. And in my other Jeep, I probably wouldn't even have put it in 4-wheel drive. But I decided to try out 4-low in this Jeep since I hadn't got to use it yet. And it pulled this little hill no problem. It was really fun getting to get a feel for this Jeep. My plans for this Jeep far outweigh my budget for this Jeep, so it's going to take a while to get it to where I want it, but I'm super excited for every step along the way. I'm going to really try to enjoy it at this stock height with these small tires, get a feel for it, then throw in those 35s, and then start saving up for the long arm lift with the stretch, for the fuel tank, for the 37 to 39 inch tires with bead locks. And I just can't wait to keep going. So here's my daughter with a few more words.
Hi, this is a good off-road video. Today we got a new Jeep just last week. Thanks for watching, and this was a great video. I forgot what I was going to say. So I'll just let my dad do the other one, and I'll see you soon. I love you. Bye.
As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.